Happy holidays, all you samurai assassins out there. Fat Samurai Guy here with Lady Fat Blood, and today in the special Christmas edition of the Movie Dojo, we are going to review all of the American Ninja films. First up, we have American Ninja, that came out in 1985.
Brought to us by our wonderful friends of the 80s, Canon. American Ninja stars Michael Dudikoff and Steve James. Focusing very simply and yet kind of not, the character of the American Ninja, named Joe Armstrong. He is forced to either go to prison or join the army, and he chooses the army. And on this transport mission one day, the team is hijacked by armed thugs and ninjas, as you do.
Yes.
So in this attack, nearly the entire team is killed, and Dudikoff rescues the chick that's in there. You find out that the chick is the daughter of the leader of the military base, and this other dude named Ronaldo. Ronaldo stirs up some shit, basically says that the whole attack could have been avoided, or actually the deaths of the men could have been avoided if Joe Armstrong had just, not done what he had done. But the truth of the matter was, Joe didn't do nothing. The guys were gonna do what they were gonna do anyway.
Yeah, it's not Joe's fault that his team got wiped out.
Yeah. So then you find out that the remaining military guys, they don't like Joe anyway. He's a loner. He doesn't talk to anybody. He's not a joiner. He doesn't really socialize with anybody on the base. So after hearing that it's his fault that all the guys got killed, they hate him more. This prompts them to start taunting him, and especially one guy in particular named Curtis Jackson taunts him into fighting, and Joe promptly kicks his ass. And then they're BFFs, because that's what men do. They
Yes.
fight, and then they love each other. So eventually we learn the big baddie of the film is named Ortega. He has hired ninjas to assist him in stealing weapons from the military so that he can turn around and sell them to the highest bidder, because 80s. And at one point, Joe is framed, and they think that he was stealing the weapons to, he was basically helping the big bad guy. But really what you find out later is that Ronaldo and the military leader named Hickok, he's in Ortega's pocket, and it's up to Armstrong and Curtis to stop all this shenanigans from going on. Oh, and in another subplot, we learned that Joe was trained by a Japanese man named Shinyuki in the way of ninjutsu, of course.
Yes.
After Joe's parents were killed, hence the his amazing ninja abilities. So, you you kind of grew up on this, didn't you?
Yes. The first one is the one I remember the most. I don't remember at all the sequels, but the first one, that's all we had, man. Okay? That's all we had. American television. We had Bruce Lee movie reruns. An American Ninja, that's all we had. But it was definitely fun rewatching this. Just fun cheese.
Yeah.
This movie's fun cheese. It knows what it is, okay?
They were making a serious action film.
Yeah.
But there's just something undeniably charming about it.
Yeah.
And I, for one, find it highly amusing that there are ninjas just walking around all over the place and everybody's perfectly fine with this. Yeah, and another thing about this is it's so entertaining, and it's actually pretty well paced for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It knows what its limits are. Dudikoff did a pretty good job for not being too well versed in martial arts. It seemed like he was one of those that he could move well, but then he eventually got into it.
Yeah, he basically learned. He was just an actor. He basically learned martial arts on set.
Oh, he was a model at first too, I want to say.
Yeah, basically he learned on set. So for a guy who really didn't have any training at the time, I thought he did a good job. He even did some of his own stunts in the movie as well.
Yeah, and he also brought a really good kind of stoic charisma to the role.
Ice cold.
Yeah, the silent, silent loner, which was a really, really good contrast to Steve James' Curtis Jackson, who has stolen my heart in this franchise. Unfortunately, he passed away in the early 90s, too young, and he literally became the reason to keep watching this series. His character is very loud. He's outwardly charming and comedic, freaking hilarious as hell.
And it was just a great balance.
Yeah,
to the ice cold Joe.
They had wonderful chemistry.
Obviously, Japan knows how to make ninja films. Okay.
Oh god, you don't want to get it.
They're the pros at the real ninja movies.
Yeah.
Okay. But you know, that's all we had here.
It's not
That's all
healthy
we
to
had.
compare, okay?
Yeah, that's all we had. So it was like, in terms of the fight choreography, I wouldn't expect too much. It's very solid. It ranges from average to okay. Well, that wasn't that bad.
Right.
So it's not bad. I think my favorite though was the Master Ninja that fought Michael Dudikoff at the end. That's how you can tell you got a real villain ninja, because he cheats. Because all good ninjas fight fair, apparently. Yeah. So I just love how he had all these different gadgets. You know, he shot out these darts. I mean, he pulled out and shot a red laser. Just a red laser, yeah.
Now, because it is a canon movie, and you know, canon, it starts with a C, but they're B movies, okay? These are not the mainstream, slick, glossy, you know, action extravaganzas that you usually were used to in the 80s that were mainstream action films. And because of its low-budget nature, which again, that's a staple in canon cinema, a lot of people won't look at this movie twice.
No.
Especially in the very beginning of the film, it comes across as kind of like a long-running TV series.
Yeah,
this movie
that's what it
wastes
felt like.
no time. It shoots you right in, and that's it. You're in the film. There's no introductions. You kind of learn a little bit about the characters here and there, but they basically expect you to just be like, oh, heroes, bad guys. Got it. We're good. The movie expects you to fill in some gaps in a couple of places. Again, drawing back to they kind of just give you a little bit of information and then they expect you to get it, which I don't mind that type, especially in this kind of film where you don't need to overcomplicate things.
No.
There is some pretty hokey acting. You know, some characters, like there's a cheesy little love story that's really kind of pointless, but it's almost like you had to in a movie like this. They set it up and it's like, well, yeah, of course they're gonna, even though there's absolutely no reason for that to happen. What are you gonna do? And
the plot itself, even though we were fine with it, some people might consider it a little bit too cheesy, which might turn them off. Yeah. The perfect example is Shinyuki, the man who taught Joe, kind of raised him up as a child a little bit and taught him the ways of the ninja. There was an explosion between both of them. They got separated. Joe lost his memory. And then by the end of the movie, Shinyuki, you know, the guy that got separated from Joe many years ago, just happened to be Ortega's, you know, the main villain of the movie. He just happened to be his gardener. And then they meet up again, and then I guess he, you know, fast forward really quick and finishes Joe's training in like 5 minutes. Kobudera, whatever that was all about.
That's brilliant.
I will honor the code, Father. Whatever. It was just kind of like, really? He just happens to be the main villain's gardener. So, I mean, there is some cheese there.
Oh, yeah, and then the master, I mean, yeah, his master sacrifices himself and dies, right?
Yeah.
By the, oh, spoilers, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
But they team up and they fight all the ninjas at the end, and it seemed like it was going to be kind of cool, a little team-up action, but then, he does die. Very quickly, unfortunately. After displaying teleportation skill.
Of course.
He can teleport.
Of course he
But
can. He's a ninja.
yeah, he died.
Overall, the movie is harmless. It is harmless 80s cheese, and in my personal, pointless opinion, it's canon at its most competent.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's everything is there. It makes the most sense. It doesn't look all that cheap. I mean, canon's looked a lot cheaper. Just go watch Superman 4. For what it is, if you're a diehard fan of ninja films, cheesy or not, you might enjoy this.
So we highly recommend this film, and we give it 3.3 out of 5 Ninja Stars. Next up is American Ninja 2: The Confrontation. Came out in 1987.
Let the decline begin. It's not that bad. So Joe and Curtis are back, yay! They are sent to a Marine base in the Caribbean islands to investigate why all these Marines are going missing. They discover that a villain named the Lion is brainwashing them and turning them into super ninjas.
Yes, because ninja.
And once again, it's freaking hysterical that it's just perfectly logical that it's ninjas. That there are ninjas around.
Yes.
And that they're the ones that are kidnapping these Marines to get turned into super ninjas. It's perfectly reasonable. I don't know what your problem is. Dude,
Ninjas. Walking around in the daytime.
Wah. Wah. Wah.
What the fuck was that? What the hell was that?
Oh my god. That was the most adorable ninja attack ever. Oh, ninjas. Okay. Yeah, ninjas hanging out at the local bar. So, yay, there's a little bit more action this time around. The fight choreography is pretty competent.
It's about the same. Yeah, it's solid. Again, ranging from average to, okay, that wasn't bad. I do have to say, though, that the Master Ninja in this film was definitely an improvement over the previous Master Ninja. I mean, this guy could move. He's actually pretty good.
And I am thrilled to say that the charisma between Joe and Curtis is alive and well in this film, with Steve James magically having more time to shine. I had a blast watching him, and he looked like he was having a blast making this movie.
What the hell? Girls in there? What the?
Come on!
Oh my god.
Oh man. Well. Oh.
And Dudikov's character is a little more loose this time around. He's a little bit, not so stoic and quiet. Same character, of course,
Yeah.
but, you could tell that he's come out of his shell a little bit. Something else I was really happy with, the leader of this military installation, his name is Wild Bill. He started out as being one of those typical cliches. He's the douchey jerk who doesn't believe Joe and Curtis, and I'm thinking, he's gonna be like this the whole movie, and he's gonna, try to stop them, or he's just gonna be the idiot that just like, just shut up and just, let the
Ninja's my ass!
Yeah, you guys are under lockdown and blah, blah, all that shit. But once he figured out that there was actual shit going down, he turned into a likable guy who helped out instead of being a roadblock for the main characters.
I mean, what is this? Ninjas, drug pushers, my men being kidnapped and murdered? This is really beginning to get on my tits.
So unfortunately, as was the tradition with Canon films, despite the success of the first movie, the budget was slashed the second time around. And, director Sam Furstenberg, he returned as well as Dudikoff and Steve James, but, and you can tell he and the crew did the absolute best they could with what they had, but the movie does look cheaper.
Now, despite our leads acting being fine, you're gonna get a lot of hokey acting from the extras.
Even more.
Even more, yeah.
Yankee Marines earn a lot of money. Give me $1.
Hey, what is it, some kind of shakedown?
Come on, let's get out of here.
Excuse us.
Oh.
He doesn't react much.
The hell of a push we got going there. Oh. And the plot of Marines being turned into super ninjas. Some audiences might be a little bit dismissive towards, the movie for that reason.
But ultimately, despite those many flaws, in the right mindset, I feel this movie is just as harmless as the first one. It doesn't flow quite as well, and it isn't as fast-paced as the first movie. But American Ninja 2 is still highly enjoyable, with Joe and Curtis really making the trip worthwhile. And like the first American Ninja, we recommend it.
We give American Ninja 2 the confrontation.
Yes.
3 out of 5 ninja stars.
Wait, what?
That was.
Wait, what?
Did you see that?
No.
That was a stunt double that walked out of the room with Jackson.
What?
Yes, it wasn't even Michael Dudikoff.
Wait. What?
Now it is time for American Ninja 3 Blood Hunt, which was released in 1989.
Oh boy. So we have a new ninja!
Yes, that's an American. We don't really know what happened. There's a lot of rumors going around that Dudikoff wanted more money, or they just didn't want to pay Dudikoff to come back. A lot of it could come down to Dudikoff was actually filming the Avenging Force movie with Sam Furstenberg directing that. That's why Sam's not directing this. That's why Dudikoff's not in it. So that kind of sounds more likely of why Dudikoff was not in this. But again, it is canon, and they're cheap as fuck. So let's just get some new guy. We don't have to pay that much.
Yeah, you couldn't wait for him. No, we want it out now, damn it, now! So we have our new ninja, Sean Davidson, played by the actual martial artist in real life, David Bradley. Who meets up with the off-screen retired Curtis Jackson, and they, soon after this tournament that Sean won, they uncover this plot by the leader of Cobra, who is experimenting on humans to create a deadly virus and sell it to the highest bidder, as you do in the 80s. And there's also genetically engineered ninja clones.
Because ninja.
So, unlike Dudikoff, who was a bit limited in martial arts when he did these films, though he approved, David Bradley is again a legitimate martial artist, and he handles the role well enough for someone whose acting was not his first profession in life. So this helped in elevating the mediocre action sequences, albeit only at times.
Just a bit, yeah.
Yeah, while his acting is a little stilted, it isn't bad, like even remotely. It's not bad. Curtis Jackson is back, of course, and he tries his damned hardest to save this movie.
Oh, he tries.
Can't believe I'm looking for ninjas. Stopped doing this when I left Joe back in the army.
Oh, there you go. And I'm happy to say that in their own way, their chemistry works very well, considering they are thrown together with nothing more than a, hey, you're so-and-so, aren't you? And where there is good, whereas before it was more good than bad, I am so sad to say everything is bad in this movie! Everything else is bad in this movie. Where there was hokey acting before, it is straight up bad, pain, garbaggio, good sirs and madams.
Was he laughing? What the?
Oh my god.
Director!
Dubbing. This is half the dubber's fault. This is...
Okay, wait, he's not around the corner yet. Okay, go.
The plot is not only similar, extraordinarily similar to the second movie, but the film itself drags. The pacing makes the movie feel way longer than it actually is. These movies rarely clock in at more than an hour 40. Okay,
This felt like some 3-hour movie.
Dude, this movie, it was just. But I think at this point I was starting to sag. Okay, with one scene in particular, the movie just grinds to a halt. They're in these flying contraptions, and it was too much.
Yeah.
I was starting to lose it.
Oh man, it felt like it was like 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was.
Our heroes are basically flying towards the villain lair.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and in this.
Yeah.
Steady. Now cut your speed.
Dude, I long is
This
this?
movie's at a 2 right now.
How long is this?
I'm looking at a 2
Yeah,
right now.
only because of Curtis.
Way to go, Dex.
This is so fucking stupid. Oh, I don't care. I don't care. Fuck it. Just fuck it all. And despite the plot of this one being very similar to the second film, it's somehow difficult to follow at times and even more convoluted.
I have a master, Izumo. He raised me since my father's killing. No way of ninja.
You're a ninja?
Yes.
So that explains a few things.
Oh! Oh!
Kidnapped by the ninja.
Oh, the pain.
Not again.
I thought ninja only hung out.
And the icing on the cake, one of the worst scores.
Oh my god.
Horribly, horribly repetitive. This whole score has been on a loop for the film. It's just, it's 2 minutes of music. It's just on a loop. And we have our secondary baddie of the movie. These movies all tend to have secondary baddies that are ninjas or whatnot. And she's a lady this time around,
Now we got ninjas.
which wouldn't be so bad, except she was awful. She was awful. She clearly couldn't fight. God.
Wouldn't that be brilliant? Well, we're using music from the last movie.
You know, guys, there are a lot of Asian women who can fight, and I'm sure Cannon could have afforded them.
Ooh, that was terrible.
Jesus.
Oh god. Oh. Stunt double, save us, please.
And what made this worse was that another woman shows up later on in the movie, and she actually could move a bit.
Yeah.
She upstaged the ninja.
This lady's better than than the Asian actress.
Yeah, she's a better fighter.
Yep.
What the ever-loving fuck, guys?
There's a sloppy subplot of Sean's father getting shot down and killed at a martial arts tournament at the beginning of the film when Sean was a little child by this villain guy. He was, conducting a robbery, blah, blah, blah. And Sean's father's friend, takes him under his wing and trains him to become a ninja. Because ninja! The guy who was leading the robbery now has climbed the ranks of the criminal ladder, and he ends up working with the Cobra in this one. And we have a scene where Sean shoots and kills him, and there's this big dramatic, flashback, and Sean finally gets his revenge. And not once in the entire film do they establish that Sean knows that that's the guy that shot his dad. Or the villain knows that that's the kid that beat me in the hand. Not once. So he just shoots some random guy, and it's just,
There's that Cannon expecting us to just fill in the gaps.
Despite the character of Curtis Jackson cleaning house, fighting all the ninjas at the end, which was huge bonus to the movie, thank God. It was a little disappointing for David Bradley's character, Sean. he didn't really get a chance to fight a big baddie who was just as good in martial arts as he was. I mean, we have a real martial artist in this movie, guys. And he ends up just fighting some old man, and I was just like, oh, really?
Come on, let's go home.
Oh my god. So, the only reason to watch this is for Curtis Jackson. Okay, David Bradley is perfectly fine.
Yeah, he's fine.
I enjoyed him very much in the role. However, the film simply expects us to follow this new guy without giving us a real reason to get behind him other than Curtis knows and respects his abilities. That's it. That's all we get. And so it's all the hokey subplots, the poison, and the oh you're fine now. Oh, I sweated the poison out of my body. He's fine. Oh, fuck the antidote. Yeah, that all happened in this movie. That all happened. So all of that. It's really hard to recommend this one. Unless you're a completist, skip it.
So we give American Ninja 3 Blood Hunt 2.5 out of 5 ninja stars.
These are terrible.
Worst ninjas ever.
Seriously, worst.
And now it is 1990, and Canon brings us our final American Ninja film in the series with American Ninja 4, The Annihilation.
Wow, you really took your time with this one, didn't you, Cannon? You went all out. Oh, limping to the finish line. So, Sean is a CIA agent now. He teams up with his new friend, Carl, played by Andre the Black Nerd. Oh God, Curtis, we miss you already. To stop an anti-American British military officer who is teamed up with a Muslim militant who want to release a suitcase nuke on New York, awkward, if they are not paid a ransom. As you do! I don't know if I would count this as a good or a bad, but maybe effective. Our anti-American British military villain. He has some kind of creepy moments.
Yeah.
We're talking pedophilia moments and another moment later where he's trying to rape this lady, but the pedo moment in particular.
My young friend.
Oh!
Try my run of patience, I hope.
Oh, bad touch.
Bad touch.
Those two strangers.
Ah!
They're in the closet.
Oh, thank you.
So again, effective. So Sean and Carl are captured. Oh.
Oh, well, that was easy.
Oh.
The end?
I wish. And this brings former Army officer / Army Ranger / Special Forces Commando, now turned teacher, Joe Armstrong, out of retirement. Because Sean and Joe are now friends. So I guess the story is a little more coherent this time around.
Believe it or not, it didn't feel as long.
Yeah, the pacing is better than 3.
Yeah, it didn't feel as long as 3.
It
and
flows better.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
smoother.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't drag as much as the previous installment.
The action sequences are still pretty solid. You know, in that American Ninja tradition.
No! No! No, 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 no! 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 No, sir! No, this will not stand!
Where it ranges from average to, oh shit, that was kind of fucking cool. Oh. Oh! And it is kind of cool in a way to see Dudikoff, you know, teaming up with David Bradley to fight the ninjas at the end.
Even though there's no reason that they could possibly have known each other, Sean and Curtis knew each other from completely different circumstances. Why were they friends? A year has only passed in this franchise here.
Yeah.
I could take it that a year has only passed since the last movie. Why are they friends?
Yeah.
And that kind of ruined the coolness of these two finally joining up in this franchise.
Yeah, it did taint it.
You know, we came up with a better story in 5 minutes over a phone conversation. Where I don't know why Curtis Jackson. I don't know why the actor didn't come back for this one.
Well, the rumor is canon again. It was canon. That's the rumor going around.
They didn't want to pay him.
They didn't want to pay him.
You know, and that's bullshit because I'm serious. I'm so serious. He was the reason to watch. After a while, he really was. And we had this plot worked out in our heads.
This could have saved the whole movie.
Yeah, Joe's retired. Okay, fine. Sean's in the CIA now with Curtis. Okay, fine. Whatever. Curtis and Sean go off on a mission. Something happens, and Curtis gets abducted. And Sean limps back to headquarters and tells them what happened, and the word gets back to Joe, and that's what brings him out of retirement. He comes back, he doesn't know Sean from Adam. There you can have their little misunderstanding fight, as you do with Zatoichi one-armed swordsman style, Godzilla versus King Kong style, why not? And then they realize, oh hey, we're both friends of this guy, let's go save our friend. Boom! Yeah. We have a better story.
Yeah, it makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
To have Curtis be the one kidnapped.
Instead, we get this new Carl character who is... He has the personality of a piece of cardboard. Sorry, dude, but your character sucked. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and the whole movie, I was like... I mean, they totally set up Carl's character to die.
Oh, dude.
They totally set him up. I mean, he was just about to get married.
The wedding.
Right, they totally set it up that he was going to die. And for some reason, for fun, I was like, no! Nay, nay, sir. He's going to be the first black sidekick that will not die. And he actually didn't die. And at the very end of the movie, he actually was useful.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh! Yeah. But in terms of, you know, having him in the movie, who basically didn't really do anything until the end, to having Curtis Jackson in the movie, how cool, just imagine, how awesome the finale would have been to have Michael Dudikoff's character, Steve James' character, and David Bradley's character. That's a poster, baby!
No shit.
How cool to have them all together fighting all these ninjas and bad guys at the end. It would have been so sweet.
Yep.
If you're gonna keep the same plot that they obviously have kept, at least make the effort and bullshit some kind of dialogue and script to make it make sense. Because Sean's character asks his commanding officer, well, you know, Joe, let's go get Joe, you know? And the guy's like, Joe turned me down. And then later in the movie, when Joe's character gets introduced, he tells the guy, I told you the last time was the last time and I was done. What are you talking about? Did we miss a movie?
Like in those gaps.
What?
You make it up, folks. So this movie, while easier to follow than 2 and 3 a bit, is still all over the place.
Oh yeah.
Even with a detour to this Mad Max style town that Joe goes to, because he needs help from the outlaws there to storm the compound where Sean and Carl and whoever is being held. And it really, and that's another big problem with this movie is once Joe shows up again, it would be like, oh, hey, Joe. And there's nothing wrong with him being in the movie, but it becomes 2 completely different movies.
It does feel like 2 different movies.
And it was sad because Sean was a perfectly fine protagonist, and if he had to take over a series, he was fine doing it.
He's ninjaing up.
And it's kind of messed up that he's forced to take a back seat.
Yeah.
In half of his own franchise.
I mean, it was cool to see Dudikoff come back.
Yeah.
But when you watch the movie, it does feel like he just straight up takes the movie,
He
man.
hijacked the movie. And once again, Sean is given a lackluster finale fight.
Yeah. Again. I mean, Dudikoff's fighting the Master Ninja, which is great.
Yeah. Dudikoff. Damn,
fatality.
Damn, dude.
But Sean, again, fighting an old man. What the fuck?
Okay. I'd have to say this is again like 3. This is only if you have to finish out the series.
It's better than 3 in my opinion.
It's easier to watch.
Yeah.
It's much easier to watch. But it's still a mess.
Yeah.
And the absence of Steve James is unforgivable.
So we give American Ninja 4 The Annihilation 2.8 out of 5 Ninja Stars. Shinobi video game. All right, that's it for today's Christmas special of the movie Dojo. If you have seen any of the American Ninja movies, please let us know what you thought about them in the comments below. And I would like to give a big shout out to Film Combat Syndicate on Facebook. All you samurai assassins out there, make sure you go out to Facebook. I will put a link in the description below of the page, and make sure you follow that page because it's awesome. If you guys want to keep up with the latest news in martial arts and action cinema, from mainstream films to independent, make sure you check it out. It's pretty awesome. And again, thank all of you for watching and subscribing to the channel. You guys rock. And have a happy new year, and we'll see you guys next time.
Really? Such professionalism.
Share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. He's the man that wears Levi jeans. He's the man. He's the original American Ninja. With the white shirt. Fruit of the Loom.
Paints his way.
He wears brute, cause don't spices for pussies. It's never gonna cough.
Oh my god.
Original American Ninja.
I don't know what to think about any of this.